everybody, Lord Tremendous here. Got another battle report here for you. 2,500 point battle against the Chaos Legion. Basically, these are all Legion rules. Lord Tremendous, that's me, of the Undead Legion, versus Khorne's Prophet of the Chaos Legion. We use the full rules here for the Chaos Legion book, and of course the Undead Legion book. I have a mixed army. He does not, but he used the rules from the new book anyway, and basically we used the Ascendance, Chaos Ascendant rule or whatever, and he chose Khorne. This is my usual Demons of Chaos player and everything like that. But yeah, Khorne is an Ascendance, and if you don't know what that means, when you're using those special rules, apparently it's just for scenarios. But we just decided, screw it, we're gonna use it, and he chose Khorne because that's what he gets to do. If there's a chaos player amongst anybody else at the table, he gets to choose. Well, you roll it up. There's more than one. But if there's only one, they choose which god is in ascendance, and any demon unit with that mark of the god that's in ascendance, they're no longer unstable. They're still unbreakable, but they're not unstable anymore because their god is ascendant. And yeah, it makes the demon army even tougher. So sit back, relax, and get ready to see how this one goes.
Assemble the army!
Here's my list, and it's the same as the last two battle reports because I played all three of these games on the same day. I have my Vampire Lord, Lord Tremendous, on a Zombie Dragon. He's a level 2 wizard with heavy armor, sword of might, enchanted shield, talisman of preservation, other trickster, shard, red fury, quick blood, and lore of death. And as far as I'm concerned, this is as perfect as a Vampire Lord could possibly get, especially considering he's on a dragon. Then I have my Lich High Priest, Queen Elizabeth, who's a level 4 wizard with a Dispel Scroll, Talisman of Protection, and the Lore of Nehekhara. My hero choices are my Tomb Prince, Dark Vincent, with a great weapon, armor silvered steel, and a Luckstone, and my Necrotech, Sinister Jeffrey, with a Dragon Helm and the Iron Curse icon. My core choices are a unit of 5 Dire Wolves, a unit of 58 Skeleton Warriors, the Fateless, with full command, light armor, and shields, 10 skeleton archers, the Queen's Guard with a unit champion and a banner, and 3 chariots, the Rolling Bones with musician, banner, and the banner of eternal flame. My special choices are a unit of 5 Hex Wraiths, and then a unit of 3 Stalkers, those that gaze. And my rare choices are a Hyro Titan, Nad the Protector, a Screaming Skull, Catapult, and the Casket of Souls. Here's my opponent's list, which consists of a dual Greater Demon list. Yes, just when you thought it couldn't get any tougher. He has a Bloodthirster. He had a Greater Gift or whatever, and he ended up getting that 2-up armor save. Something like Unbreakable Skin or whatever, Skin of Kryptonite. I can't remember, but basically the damn Bloodthirster had a 2-up armor save. And then he also had a Keeper of Secrets, who was a level 4 wizard who used the Lore of Slaanesh. His hero choices were Karnak, so yeah, there's a surprise, huh? Karnak chose my High Lich Priest as his target, his bait or whatever, and that's who we went after. And he also had a Herald of Khorne. I think that's what they are. Yeah, Herald of Khorne. I don't remember exactly what he ended up getting. He had some gifts. I don't remember exactly what he had. But he was the unit's BSB, or the Army's BSB. His core choice was a unit of 43 Bloodletters with full command and a Banner of Swiftness. His special choice was a Beast of Nurgle, and his rare choices were a Skull Cannon and a Soul Grinder with the Mark of Khorne. So yes, he's got a lot of Khorne choices in this army. Here are my spells, which is a small book. And here are his spells, which is a very, very tiny pamphlet. Here's deployment, and I wasn't overly concerned about the bulk of his army. He had 2 greater demons on the table. That's where my concerns were. So I just said, screw it, and I went for it. The Karnak model is not fielded yet. It's just on that little impassable terrain rock piece in the middle of the board because that's where he decided to place it so he wouldn't forget to roll for it, which I was perfectly fine with. On the left there, I have my Hex Race up in that little bottleneck, daring that cannon to get close enough for me to run through it. My General on the Dragon is on the left side there because I was going to use that impassable terrain to try to stop the cannonball from blowing my Zombie Dragon away, round 1. The Titan, the archers, the skeleton warriors are all close knit to each other because they all rely on the Titan and each other in order to, be effective in the army. The direwolves are in front of the skeleton warriors to buy them time. That little piece of terrain there, where my red cup of dice rolling is impassable terrain. So the hope was march the dogs around because they're within 12 inches of my general. They can actually march now. The plan was to march the direwolves over so that the bloodletters had to hit the dogs before they could hit the skeleton warriors. And since that's impassable terrain, it puts him out of position for another turn or two as he repositions them so that he can get a charge off on my skeleton warriors, which really was going to work in my advantage, I hoped. Once again, my casket and my catapult are behind the impassable terrain to make it a little bit more difficult for them to get charged, and the chariots are in the right side bottleneck there in case the soul grinder or the bloodthirster that he has over there. It's not a demon of corn on the right flank, on my right flank there. It's actually his proxy for his bloodthirster. The Nurgle demon prince you see on top of the hill on his side, that's actually his proxy model for a beast of Nurgle because he doesn't have one yet. But yeah, the chariots were there to just try to keep them at bay for as long as possible. Here's my opponent's right flank, which consists of his skull cannon, and that is not a demon prince of Nurgle, that is a beast of Nurgle proxy. Here's his center from left to right. There's his Keeper of Secrets. There's his huge brick of blood letters with Khorne BSB installed. And the red demon prince you see right there on the right side, that is actually his Bloodthirster proxy. And here's his left flank, which consists of his Soul Grinder. Here's my right flank, which consists of my chariots, catapult, and casket. And here's my center, which consists of my skeleton warriors with Necrotech and Tomb Prince installed. The direwolves in front of them. In the middle is my Titan. Behind him are my archers with my High Lich Priest installed. And next to them is the glory that is Lord Tremendous the Vampire Lord on a zombie dragon. Because yes. And my left flank, which consists of my Hex Race. Here's top of one after movement, and I didn't go first, which is fine. And he does what he should do. He came up fast. I believe the only thing that didn't move up real far was his cannon, and that was probably smart because I would have sent my Hex Race into the flank, or just, through it and see what could have happened. The only reason I didn't want to move the Hex Race just through the cannon is because then it could just turn and grape shot them off the table. At best, I thought maybe if I charged him in the flank, I could, now is the thing pulling the chariot can't attack. He's got two bloodthirsters that, probably kill a guy or two a turn, but maybe I could do some damage and vapor. Well, I couldn't vaporize it because they don't crumble anymore, but maybe I could do enough damage to kill it. I was hoping, maybe. But anyway, he just moves everything forward as fast as he can because he needs to get a hold of me, and I'm not coming to him. During his magic phase, his Reign of Chaos tabled, kills 2 of my Hex Race right off the bat. Yeah, of all the units he could have hit with that damn thing, he hits the Hex Race and kills 2 of them. Awesome. God, that table sucks. Luckily for me, though, the Reign of Chaos table is the only thing that did anything this turn. His cannon actually way overshoots his, his Soul Grinder. I don't think he even does shoot. And nothing happens in his magic phase because I can dispel it. So, we go over here to bottom of 1 after movement. And I actually do move a little bit. My general charges his keeper. He was too close. I was like, you know what? I know if I don't get a hold of his keeper secrets now, he's going to bubble, acquire everything he can and just face rape everything that I have. So I have to charge in with my Vampire Lord. It's time to see just how tough this guy really is. And so I did. I charged and I made it. And I have to kill the Keeper. I have to kill him now. The Keeper is still unstable. So if I've already got a +1 on the charge, if I can just take the Keeper out, or at least put some serious damage on this thing, maybe my casket or my catapult could take care of it after my Vampire Lord is destroyed. That was the hope. Other than that, the dogs move into position to throw the blood letters off, and everything else, more or less, the Hex Race just repositioned themselves slightly. The Titan repositioned itself to get a better shot at some of the other things on the table and make it so that it wasn't a 1-2 punch with the damn cannon. Other than that, not a whole lot of movement on my part, because that's not how I play these guys. I see the value in hanging back. There's a better picture of Lord Tremendous slamming into his Keeper, and this is a bit of a grudge thing. I have not killed a Keeper of Secrets, since I started playing these guys. and multiple games. I think the last time I killed the Keeper of Secrets was, oh gosh, at the Shiloh or the Alamo GT. I can't remember. I played somebody from California, one of the hosts of West Coast Hammer Time. That was the last Keeper of Secrets that I killed, and he killed my Demon Prince before he finally died. So I needed to kill a Keeper of Secrets just for morale's sake. So that's why I made this charge. During the magic phase, I cheat a little bit and I get a spell off on his keeper, the incantation of desiccation, and I lower his strength and toughness by 1. I went with the lowball version of it just because I was worried about miscasting and I didn't have a whole lot of dice. Didn't roll that great for my dice, but that's fine. I got it off, and now he's -1 strength, -1 toughness, and every little bit helps. Next up, my catapult takes careful aim at the soul grinder, fires, and misfires 3, almost exploding itself. It can't shoot this turn or next, which is poop, but hey, it is what it is. At least it didn't explode, but I hate it when my cannon decides to go full retard. Or catapult, sorry. And then over here, my regular archers, in my chariots anyway, they fire at the Khorne Bloodthirster and actually slip a wound past his 2-up, 5-up, which was awesome. So yeah, the Bloodthirster has a wound on him, and that's fantastic. Then over here in combat, my Vampire Lord beats the stuffing. Yeah, I'm not going to swear. I want to, but I won't. Beats this keeper half to death. He puts 3 wounds, I think, between him and the dragon. 3 wounds go through on the keeper. In return, I believe my lord takes a wound from the keeper. And in the end, the keeper has 3 wounds. I have 3 wounds and a charge to the 1 wound. I win by 3. The keeper is still unstable because Slaanesh is not in Ascendance. Hey, my opponent's choice. And so his keeper vaporizes. And I think I overran a little bit just because I didn't want to be flank charged by Bloodletters and a Nurgle, a Beast of Nurgle. So it seemed like a better bet. So he overruns. But yes, the spell helped a lot. It actually stopped a couple of his wounds, and the toughness thing, well, I was pretty much wounded on 3s, but the toughness lowering it by 1, wounding on 2s, that was very useful as well. Killing the Keeper of Secrets felt good. Nothing against my opponent, but that model has been just the bane of my existence for about a year now. So taking one out, taking one off the table like this felt good. So, after having a quick cigarette, even though I don't smoke, we go over here to top row 2 after movement, and you're looking at it. My opponent's pissed. I just took out his magic phase. So, his Bloodletters charge the dogs. His Beast of Nurgle moves forward after the Titan. The Chariot moves up slightly, or I'm sorry, his cannon moves up slightly to get a better angle at my Zombie Dragon Lord. And his Bloodthirster attempts to charge my chariots and fails by like 1.5 inches, 2 inches. The Soul Grinder moves up as much as he can, and everything else pretty much is dead or in combat. There's a better picture of his Bloodthirster failing a charge against my chariots. And there's a better shot of his Bloodletter slamming into my Direwolves, which is, they were sacrificial lambs from deployment. During the magic phase, even though he no longer has a wizard, he still rolls to generate dice. And of course, the Reign of Chaos table hits my skeleton warriors and kills 6 of the models. I don't remember what he rolled, but yeah, 6 of my damn warriors die because he channeled power dice for a caster that doesn't exist. How he channeled magic dice with majority Khorne models is beyond me, but whatever. That's what the rules say to do. Stupid ass chart. Then we go here into combat. His cannon fires at my zombie dragon, and he says like 6 inches away, and then he rolled a 10. So it went way over his head, which is great. I'm thrilled with that. Meanwhile, his Soul Grinder, I don't think he shot at all with it. So we go into combat, and the Bloodletters just destroy the Direwolves, and there's a shock. Thanks to his BSB, he is frenzied, so he has to overrun, and he is out of position. Huge. It's going to take him at least 2 turns before he can get a hold of my skeletons, which means I have time to work on the Bloodletters, which is exciting. So we go over here to bottom of 2 after movement, and my Stalkers come on the table. Yay! They go over and face the Bloodthirster because I need to put some wounds on this thing fast. I toyed with charging with my chariots, but then I realized my Stalkers wouldn't be able to Care Bear stare at the thing, so I decided against it. My zombie dragon, not having any better things to do, hid behind the impassable terrain so that if his chariot cannon thing, his skull cannon decides to shoot at him again, it's got to be in a very, very exact hit. Otherwise, it's either going to bounce over me or it's going to hit the impassable terrain and stop. He also turned to face so that maybe I could slam into the Bloodletter's flank or rear, depending on how he reformed them. Just all that good stuff. My skeleton archers turned to face Karnak because he came on the table last turn and faced him. And my High Lich Priest dives into the unit of Skeleton Warriors because I didn't want Karnak getting a hold of him just yet. I liked having a level 4 caster on the table with no caster to stop me. Just seemed fitting. Other than that, you're looking at what happened. During the magic phase, I put Incantation of Desiccation off on his Bloodletters. I cast the spell hoping to pull his Dispel dice, but he saw through my ruse and let it go. Nothing else happens in my magic phase, so we go into the shooting phase, and the Stalkers Care Bear stare at his Bloodthirster, and after saves and everything like that, I know he didn't get any armor saves, but he had some ward saves. There's nothing I can do about that. I think I did like 3 or 4 wounds to him, and only 1 got through. So I'm not Demon Prince, but the Bloodthirster does have 2 wounds on him, but he's still got like 3 or 4 more, so I've still got an uphill battle against this thing. But I'll take what I can get. So we go over here to top of 3 after movement because everything else in turn 2 was over. And you're pretty much looking at it. The Beast and Nurgle went into the Titan, which I felt okay about. Karnak charged the archers, I think just to get him out of the way. His Bloodthirster finally made it into the chariots, and his cannon moved over to take a shot at my zombie dragon, which I can't blame him. Bloodletters reformed, and the Soul Grinder reformed to face the Stalkers. There's a better picture of Karnak slamming into the archers. And there's a better picture of his Beast and Nurgle slamming into my Titan. And his Bloodthirster slamming into my chariots. And I knew my chariots were in trouble. During the magic phase, once again, the stupid retard of chaos chart puts the template on the Skeleton Warriors. It deviates a lot, ends up right where you're seeing it for the most part. And 5 of my skeleton archers that just got into combat with Karnak get killed. I don't think it does anything to my skeleton warriors. I think he flubs the roll or something like that. I'm not 100%. But yeah, isn't that friggin' glorious? So Karnak, who I was hoping was going to be held up there for a turn or two, should be able to chew through 4 regular skeleton archers and a unit champion with relative ease. Just awesome. Then over here in the shooting phase, the Stalkers don't do very well. I think I get like 6 hits on the Soul Grinder and take a misfire. I get another wound on my Stalkers, and I think I put maybe 1 wound on the Soul Grinder. I kind of took a bad angle at this picture, but yeah, it wasn't a glory shot or anything like that, but you know, I still like my Stalkers a lot. With all that said, I'm going to go over here to combat, and yeah. I'm sorry, that's not true what happened with the Stalkers at all. I'm sorry, I got my notes mixed up. His, what's it called? His Soul Grinder turns and shoots something. One of his little shots shoots at, it's like the teardrop template. It goes through all 3 of his Stalkers and does 1 wound to him. I apologize, I got my notes all screwed up. Then over here in combat, his Bloodthirster hits my chariots, and yeah, it's brutal. But the fact that one of my chariots remains is glorious, because any other unit that I had would have broken, got ran down, or fled off the table. Actually, that was the banner, so he would have just exploded. So, chariots did well. They took a Bloodthirster on the charge and survived long enough to hold in there for another turn. So they're buying me time, which I respect. The archers, on the other hand, over here did not do the same. Karnak was of course, my unit champion issues or accepts a challenge, whatever, gets his face just destroyed by it, and Karnak wins by like 5 or 6. It's kind of ridiculous, and the rest of the archers explode, which is too bad. Karnak, of course, overruns and slams into my skeleton warriors in the rear, no problem. Then over here in combat, strangely enough, the Titan and the Beast and Nurgle were very evenly matched, and we each put a wound on each other. I lose by 1 because he charged and did a wound to my 1 wound, but I'm an Arcane Construct and take no wounds. Well, I don't take that first wound. So yeah, we just kind of stand there bleeding a little bit. It was a good fight. With all that said, done, we go over here to bottom of 3 after movement, and I'm like, screw it. I see that I'm in trouble here. His Bloodthirster's in my back ranks. I don't want to send my dragon over there to get blown up by the casket if the Bloodthirster just decides to fly over him. So I sent my dragon into his Bloodthirsters. I figured if anyone was going to be able to deal with the Bloodthirsters, it was going to be my Vampire Lord on a dragon. He can't be killing blowed, so that kind of negates everything. They've got decent armor, they've got decent toughness, so the Bloodthirsters are going to have their work cut out for him no matter who he targets. Maybe I can get a 5-up ward save off on everybody. That would be cool too. That was the hope. My Stalkers turn to face the Soul Grinder. And that's oh yeah, and my Hex Race finally charge into the flank of the Skull Cannon in the vague hope of just killing it outright. There's a better picture of my Vampire Lord on a Dragon slamming into the Blood Letters. And there's a better picture of my Hex Race slamming into the Skull Cannon. If nothing else, it stops it for shooting from a turn, hopefully. Speaking of shooting phase, my Catapult takes careful aim once again at the Soul Grinder, and it was a direct hit. Unfortunately, it was also a direct misfire. And yeah, I end up misfiring 6, which is awesome. I don't, I just can't shoot for this turn because, Undead engineering is just the best engineering. But yeah, me and the Skull Catapult might have to have a conversation with a lighter later on. Over here in combat, I don't do well. I'm unable to wound this thing at all, but with charge and a flank, he's able to do a wound to me. I win by 1, but Khorne is in Ascendant, so it doesn't matter, and nothing happens. He does fail his leadership to turn and face, though, which was a bonus. Then over here in combat, we trade wounds once again. 1-to-1, tied combat, nothing happens. It's a lot better fight than I thought it was going to be. Over here in combat, my unit champion, Karnak issues a challenge. My unit champion accepts. He does a bunch of wounds. In the end, I ended up losing by 1. He has charge, rear, and a bunch of wounds. I have 3 ranks and a banner and no wounds. He wins by 1, and another one of my skeletons dies. So I can live with that. Over here, though, holy crap. The Vampire Lord went and killed a bunch of stuff. The Zombie Dragon killed a bunch of stuff. Thunderstomp killed a bunch of stuff. The Breath Weapon killed a bunch of stuff. And in return, the Bloodletters were able to do nothing. I even killed his BSB in this one, so very happy about how this combat's going. Of course, Khorne is in Ascendance, so the unit doesn't have to take a crumble check or anything like that. Which a little frustrating, but I do like the way that unit has a lot more staying power with the whole Ascendance rule. It is only used in special scenarios. We weren't playing the special scenario, but we did use a special rule just to try it out. I have no regrets because I do like the strength it gives the demons. I enjoy the challenge. Over here, however, the combat does not go as well for me. The Bloodthirster is kind of annoyed that all 3 of the chariots didn't explode after he charged them, so he explodes my final chariot and laughs manically as it disintegrates. With all the laughter still going on, we go over here to top of 4 after movement, and the Bloodthirster, who reformed after he won that combat, charges into my Catapult, and at this point, I'm kind of rooting for him to kill my Catapult. His Soul Grinder slams into my Stalkers, and that's fine. I didn't expect anything less, and everything else he has is already in combat, or dead. There's a better picture of his Bloodthirster slamming into my Catapult, and since it's failed me this entire game, I want him to destroy it. And there's been a picture of a Soul Grinder slamming into my Stalkers, and I wasn't feeling too good about that. Over here in combat, I get a wound through on his catapult or on his cannon. He gets another wound through on my Hex Race. It's 1-2. I win by 1. Khorne is in Ascendance, and they laugh at me. Once again, though, he fails his leadership role to turn and face. Then over here in combat, the only wound he does, I have to take that initiative check, and I already had a wound on one of my guys. So he hits, he wounds, one of the Stalkers die. His charge and a wound to my nothing, because I wasn't able to hurt him. He wins by 1. We're Arcane Constructs, we don't go anywhere. So that kind of worked out. Then over here in combat, the Bloodthirster just tears the Catapult crew apart and uses the remains of the Catapult to pick his teeth, which I can respect. However, he does overrun into my casket, which I don't respect. I was really hoping the casket would be spared, but it is what it is. Then over here in combat, we flub. We just beat the crap out of each other's toughness and aren't able to actually get a solid wound through. So nothing happens, and it's a push. Then over here, oh, the Vampire Lord. He kills another like 10 to 12, well, the Vampire Lord and the Dragon kill another 10 to 12 of those Bloodletters. I mean, I'm sorry, this kit is just too good. I mean, there ought to be a law, because even with their 5-up ward save, and he was making a lot of them other Trickster Shard. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So yeah, the Bloodletters have fallen apart, and once again, they aren't able to do any wounds to me, and if it wasn't for Khorne being in Ascendance, that brick would have poofed a while ago. With all the fun said and done, we go over here to a bottom of 4 after movement, and there's no movement because everything is in combat. During the magic phase, I get the Desiccation spell off on his Bloodthirster and a Desperate Gambit on just trying to save my casket. And, well, I only lower his stuff by 1, so probably not going to help a whole lot. Then over here, I'm able to get Killing Blow off on my Skeleton Warriors, and the hope there is that if I can hit Karnak, I can roll a 6 to wound, and if he fails his damn ward save, he's dead. So that was the hope. That's why I cast that spell. Then over here in combat, I don't remember exactly what happens. He does another wound, or yeah, he does a wound or 2. I do 1 back to him. He wins by 1, but you know, I'm an Arcane Construct, so I don't, you know, fall apart, but we each have 1 wound left now. This combat is like really stressful now, but it was a good one, so I'm enjoying it. Then over here in combat, yeah, my Tomb Prince decides to accept the challenge just because I'm an idiot. I figured maybe with Killing Blow he had more attacks, maybe I'd get lucky, or if not, maybe his higher strength would help. And I proceed to get 1 wound through on Karnak, which it wasn't Killing Blow or anything like that, but it was a wound. He does a wound back to me. He's got a rear to my 3 ranks and a banner. Doesn't matter because Khorne's an Ascendant, so Karnak doesn't go anywhere, which is a shame. What does end up going somewhere, though, is my casket. The Bloodthirster blows through it like it's literally nothing. And then the casket explodes, and the only thing to take any damage is my Skeleton Warriors, who take 2 casualties thanks to the explosion. Bloodthirster actually did get hit. I failed to wound him. Karnak was perfectly fine, and everything else was out of range, so oh well. Then over here in combat, my Stalkers are actually able to put a couple more wounds through on the Soul Grinder, bringing his total up to 3. They do take another wound for their trouble, but they passed their initiative test, so he had to actually roll to hit and wound, and he rolled poorly, which was great for me. I think I end up winning this combat, but yeah, Khorne's an Ascendant, so nobody cares. Then over here, nothing. He fails to hit me, I fail to wound him, I have a flank to his nothing, I win, he's Cornate, and so he doesn't care. He does fail his leadership once again, though, to turn and face. Then over here in combat, yeah, my Vampire Lord just proves that he's a demigod and kills all but like 5 or 6 of the Bloodletters after all is said and done. Like I said, if it wasn't for the whole Khorne Ascendance rule, those Bloodletters would have been vaped a long time ago. So we go over here to top of 5 after movement, and once again, there is very little movement. His Bloodthirster slams into the flank of my Skeleton Warriors because why not? And other than that, everything else was already in combat or dead, so there's really no other movement. Here's a better picture of his Bloodthirster joining Karnak in the let's destroy all the bone people stuff. Not thrilled about this. Not thrilled about this one at all. Nothing happens in his magic phase or his shooting phase, so we go into his combat phase, and he's able to finish off my last Hell Wraith, or Hex Wraith anyway. Not unseen, not unpredictable, but you know what? The Hex Wraiths held that thing off from shooting for 2 or 3 turns. Worth the points, worth the sacrifice every single time. They even put a wound through, even though I wasn't expecting him to. So very happy about that. Then over here, I once again fail my initiative check, and he's able to obliterate one of my Stalkers. I don't believe I'm able to do anything to him. I think he wins by 1, but it doesn't matter because I'm an Arcane Construct, and so life, well, unlife goes on. Next up, my Titan. Oh, Nad. He does so good. He slips that last wound through on the Beast and Urgle and drops him like a bad habit, which is awesome. Absolutely awesome. What a hell of a fight, let me tell you. They went back and forth for a while, and my Titan, the only reason he won is because he had one extra wound than the damn Beast Nurgle did. And, he's also a lot tougher and a lot stronger, but I digress. Yeah. The Titan and the Nurgle, Beast of Nurgle really had an epic fight here, and it was fun to watch. I'm glad it came out on top because I'm a selfish bastard, but yeah, that was something else. I really enjoyed that fight. Then over here in combat, my Tomb Prince and Karnak kind of flub, but the Bloodthirster doesn't, and a lot of my skeletons get vaporized. I don't remember the exact amount, but a lot of them get vaporized. As you can see, I still have plenty to go, but a Bloodthirster in their flank is not good, especially when he's got Karnak in my rear, and I just can't seem to killing blow the damn thing. But there is some good news for me. My Vampire Lord on the Dragon finally finishes off the Bloodletters and then turns to face the Soul Grinder in the vain hope that I can slam into the Soul Grinder and kill it before it can kill my Stalker and save those points. So we go over here to bottom of 5 after movement, and that's what I do. I send my Vampire Lord into the Soul Grinder, hoping to save my Stalker. I would have charged his Bloodthirster with my Vampire Lord, but between the Bloodthirster and the impassable terrain, it was actually impossible to get my model back there. The base just wouldn't fit, so it was an illegal charge, so I didn't bother with it. I went after the Soul Grinder. My Titan moves up slightly to give the what's it called? The Skull Cannon a target, and maybe even Shem's Burning Gaze it off the table. That was the hope. Other than that, everything I have is already dead, or in combat. There's a better picture of my Vampire Lord trying to be a hero. During the combat, yeah, magic doesn't do anything. I roll low for my magic phase, and there is no shooting, so we go into combat. And once again, my poor skeleton warriors just get pummeled. They get the crud beat out of them. My Tomb Prince does die to Karnak. That figures. Yeah, and a bunch of my skeleton warriors die, and this is what I end up having left after all the combat and stuff like that. So I'm hoping I have 2 more rounds of combat left in these skeleton warriors to survive this, but I'm getting a little nervous. I won't lie to you. In the combat against the Soul Grinder, I do believe I'm able to kill it before it can hurt my Stalker, or before it can finish off my Stalker, which is awesome, but I forgot to take a picture of it, so you'll see it in top of 6 after movement. As you can see, my Vampire Lord on a Dragon turned to face his Bloodthirster in the hopes that maybe I could slip in there somehow. The Stalker turned to face the cannon, again in the vague hope that I could get over there and maybe Care Bear stare the damn thing off the table. The cannon does try to charge my Titan here and fails the charge. Thank you, Dice Gods. That was awesome. And other than that, everything he has is dead or in combat. There's a better picture of his cannon failing a charge into my higher Titan, which was nice. Nothing happens in his magic phase or his shooting phase, so we go into his combat phase, and of course, more of my skeletons get beat up. Like, half the unit dies. He rolls really, really well. He issued a challenge. I think I just declined it. I don't recall. But yeah, I wasn't able to do anything to Karnak or his Bloodthirster. A lot of skeleton warriors die, but I still have a small handful. So if I can just save one before the end of the game, one more round of combat, maybe I can save their points, and that would be awesome. So we go here to the bottom of 6 after movement, and the Stalker tried to move forward as close as he could. He could only move 7, and not march and still be able to shoot. Needless to say, he wasn't close enough after he moved his non-march move. The Titan, I thought about charging the cannon, and then I thought that would be really stupid, so I didn't. And everything else is dead or in combat. Well, dead or in combat. During the magic phase, I get Righteous Smiting off on my Skeleton Warriors, more for the raising of the skeletons than anything else. And it works. I think I get back like 2 or 3 skeletons, which is better than nothing. And then I throw 6 dice at Incantation of Desiccation, the big one. It goes off Irresistible Force, and it is able to drop the Bloodthirster's Strength and Toughness by 3, which is huge. I really needed that in order to stick into this fight, It was Irresistible Force, though, and I ended up rolling a miscast 5.
You must not read from the book!
Yeah, not as bad as it could have been, but pretty damn close. I think I end up hitting my Necrotech, my High Lich Priest, obviously, and 6 Skeleton Warriors, and even Karnak takes a crack from it. I ended up losing 6 Skeleton Warriors, I think, 5 or 6 Skeleton Warriors. Either way, I lost a bunch of Skeleton Warriors that I couldn't afford to lose. And Karnak actually takes a wound, which was nice. So, yeah, if I could just slip one more through, I think he's dead. 1 or 2. Either way, I'd be thrilled if I could just slip 1 or 2 through, and survive this. Not to mention get the points for Karnak. That'd be nice. It doesn't end up happening that way. My Skeleton Warriors aren't able to slip another wound through on Karnak. I, of course, decline any challenge that he sends out because I still could. And yeah, his Bloodthirster, that -3 strength, really helped a ton. It really nerfed the amount of damage he was able to do. And in the end, as you can see, my Skeleton Warriors, my High Lich Priest, and my Necrotech survived the onslaught from a Bloodthirster and Karnak in their flank and rear, no less. So, wow, that was close. And there's the end of the game, guys. You're looking at it. We beat the piss out of each other. It was a damn fun game, a damn good game too. And I got to be honest with you, I don't have a problem with any of the Chaos Legion rules so far. Even though we used the Chaos Ascendant rule outside of a scenario, we didn't use any of the scenario rules other than that particular one. It was fun. I mean, it made the game a lot more challenging. It made the army a lot more difficult to face and stuff like that. And I enjoyed it. Otherwise, my Hex Race probably would have killed the cannon. Karnak would have probably died because he would have taken some wound or two because I did win a few combats. Just stuff like that. So it was just interesting. I don't have a problem with what they're doing. But you know what? We'll get to the recap in a second because right now it's time for a quick timeout. Banners, banners, banners. Get you some banners. Look at the banners. You are never going to be able to get better banners than this. There is no company, there is no talent scout, there is no entity on the planet that's going to get you banners better than this. Custom banners for your custom army. You want better paint scores. You want that little edge that makes your army better than the guy next to you. Sick of running, going to a tournament and getting that paint score that's just a few points lower than the guy that literally sneezes on his army. And you can't figure out why? Get these banners and make your army really pop, really stand out. Send this guy an email, tell him what you want, and get yourself some banners. It's totally worth it. All right, guys and gals, there it is. Token Gal is back, and she's back in full operation mode of making tokens. So if you missed out before she went and got married and became Mrs. Token Gal, or however that works, this is your chance. Get your tokens now. Send her an email. Send her your monies. Get yourself some tokens. They're dirt cheap, solid gold quality. You're not going to be disappointed. Tell her Tremendous sent you. She'll probably know. But yeah, get these tokens. They're so much better than just using dice. They're so much easier to remember everything. You don't have to worry about your cards getting lost, stolen, ripped, torn, whatever. And, they're glass beads, cool high-def pictures. Totally worth it. Get yourself some tokens. You won't regret it. And Unleashed Wargaming's painting services is back, guys. I took it down for a little bit while I redid the ad and added some of his newer pictures, but as you can see, he does amazing work. He's based out of the U.S. He does solid, quality work to all armies. I mean, you saw the pictures. You've seen the quality. You've seen the vibrant colors and the attention to detail and everything. I mean, that banner is free-handed. I mean, how are you not going to like something like that? So if you're like me, and you hate painting, but you don't have an awesome wife to do all your painting for you, give this guy an email, talk to him about what you need, and he's going to knock it out for you. You're not going to be disappointed. You're not going to be embarrassed when you play your army at, your local store, at GT's, or local GT's at your store, or however the heck you want to play. You'll have a painted army. It's going to be a beautifully painted army to your specifications. How can you go wrong? Send him an email, get your army painted, and quit embarrassing yourself. Tell him Tremendous sent you. Yep, guys, and there it is. It was a victory for Lord Tremendous. 1,837 points for me to 894 for him. My army ended up losing the Tomb Prince, the Direwolves, the Archers, the Chariots, the Hex Race, Catapult, and the Casket. The Chaos Legion guys ended up losing a Keeper of Secrets, a Herald of Khorne BSB, his Bloodletters, his Beast and Urgle, and his Soul Grinder. And to be perfectly honest with you, the Keeper of Secrets, the Bloodletters, the BSB, the Soul Grinder are worth a ton of points, and that's what really pushed me over the top. Meanwhile, the things that I lost, the Dire was like 40 points. My Tomb Prince is just over 100. The Archers are, I think, like around 100. The Chariots were the most expensive unit I lost at like 195, plus a banner, which I gave them. The Hex Race were 150. The Catapults 90. The Caskets 135. I think the Keeper and the Bloodletters alone put me over what I lost in the Tomb Prince, the Archers, and the Chariots. So I felt pretty good about that. The fact that I won by such a large margin really shocked me, though. I thought it was a lot closer than that. And I'm going to go ahead and concede this because, yeah, you guys are right. I'm not apologizing for it, but I will concede that you're right, that the Vampire Lord, especially on the Dragon, might be the most powerful Lord in the game. A Vampire Lord on a Dragon kitted out for combat is absolutely ridiculous, and I have no intention of stopping using him. Just mind blown at how good the Vampire Lord is, especially on the Zombie Dragon. Really like them. The power has officially gone to my head. Another thing that I was thrilled about in this game is finally, after almost a year, I was able to flat out kill a Keeper of Secrets. It felt so good to finally take one of those bastards out. Screw you, Slanesh. Oh, it was nice. It was nice. I thought of Demonic Orchard when I did it too. I'm not gonna lie. It's not an insult to the man. I respect the man. But if he's watching this, he's smiling right now, rolling his eyes. Really enjoying the current list. The Undead Legion list really brings a lot of options to the table and stuff like that. That normally I'm not used to having. And I'm loving this list. I'm actually enjoying the combo thing. And I got to be honest, I didn't think that I would. Everything meshing in the current list that I have, just the way my play style is and everything like that, everything meshes really well. I'm still toying with tinkering with a few things. I still want to try a couple of units. And to be perfectly honest, I just want an excuse to buy a few new models and stuff like that. So, I've got a few ideas that I'm tinkering around with, messing around with points, but I have a few things, of course, in the army that I'm very loyal to because I'm just enjoying them. So I'm not 100% that I'm going to settle on this version of the list, but it's definitely going to be the foundation list that I base all of the lists off because I just really enjoy everything in the list. I like fielding it. The Reign of Chaos table can still suck my butt. I don't like it. I don't like things that can affect the army, in an extreme way, and there's nothing you can do about it. And there's nothing that the demon player has to do, or any of the chaos players have to do for that matter now, except for just being chaos. Okay, I don't even need to have a caster. And even though nothing in my army can channel Winds of Magic, I channel Winds of Magic because plot. That's why. Irritates me a bit. So yeah, I'm gonna throw my hissy fit, and you're just gonna have to deal with it or fast forward, one of the two. Having Khorne in Ascendance during this game made the Khorne demons much more difficult to deal with. There is a noticeable difference. But not as impossible to deal with as I thought they were going to be. It did take longer. It was a lot more difficult. Luckily, I had the tools available in order to deal with them. But I liked that it made the fights better. And I kind of like the rule because if people really adhere to it and use the Ascendance rule or the scenarios anyway for it and actually implement that rule, you could see more mono-themed armies, which I think would be kind of cool. I don't have a problem with people doing multiple gods and stuff like that, but for some reason it just maybe it's OCD, but it just feels right when I see a mono list on the table as opposed to a jumble. Just personal preference when it comes to playing against demons and stuff like that, but of course there's nothing wrong with a list like my opponent had. It was very effective. And of course, as always, I reserve the right to change my mind and my opinion on a whim. So, but as always, it was a great game, great fun. I enjoy playing against this guy. Loved the Chaos Legion rules. They were really cool to play against. It was fun to see him in action. And I'm looking forward to the rematch because as people embrace the Chaos Legion rules and you start seeing Beastmen and Warriors of Chaos and Demons all meshed together in the same list, I think it's going to get pretty brutal and I think the games are going to be a lot more intense. And that's what I love about this game, the intensity. But yeah, guys, that's going to do it for this battle report number 168. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or complaints, feel free to put them in the comment section below, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. But yeah, guys, thanks.